Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Wednesday. Hump Day, baby. Can't think of anybody better to have than Bob Kravitz on Hump Day from The Athletic. How are you?
I'm good. Are you saying I'm a hump?
No, it's just you think of Hump Day and you're propelling into the rest of the week, baby.
You think of weekend, you think of fun, you think of me.
You think of Bob.
Okay.
You think of the Kravitz touch. Don't forget, we're brought to you by Southern Stone Restaurant, located at Patterson and Rogers in Bloomington, where you can find each Monday and Wednesday Inside Indiana basketball on Mondays, Inside Indiana football on Wednesdays with Don Fisher and the coaches of each respective sport. Starting this Monday, jump out there. So, Bob, you always know where that is. You can stop by and have the best tenderloin you've ever had in your life.
Yeah,
I've never been a tenderloin guy. They just never good. They're always like hubcap size with that little hat in the middle. It looks like, because it's a hamburger bun, and I'm like, it looks like but
you're not a Hoosier.
Oh, I am, but I don't like. These are phenomenal.
They're great.
I'm like, oh, okay, I'm back. Every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in. That wasn't very good. Yeah, we were talking.
So what's going on with the Colts?
Well, I was just right before you came on. I said, talk about the quarterback change. I said, our friend Bob won't have anything to say about that.
No, except that it had to happen.
I put out a retweet that I saw that someone had put together that since 2018, the Colts have spent, I think it was, if I remembering correctly, $146 million on 12 different quarterbacks. Yeah. And I'm like, I could have made 145. I could have changed 145 people's lives. Maybe 100, maybe 144.
Yeah.
But I could have changed 144 people's lives forever, and their families forever with that. And the Colts would be in the same place they are now.
Talking about the real world, so But yeah, it's been extraordinary, and if anything good comes out of this, it's that. Oh shoot, somebody's calling me.
It's all right. Something good must be coming out right now.
No, no. The good is that it confirms that next year in the draft, they absolutely, positively, no question about it, have to go out and get themselves a quarterback in the draft. I mean, there's just no alternative, unless Ellinger turns into Tom Brady, which I don't believe he's going to.
Well, you look at New England, they got two guys. And every one of these guys, Dustin, we've had this conversation a lot of late. I keep bringing up the NFL used to be, you come into the league, you sit behind an experienced veteran for 2-3 years, sometimes 4, but a couple of years. It's like going to college, basically. You learn the lay of the land, because pro football is a big difference. Reading the defenses, everything's so much faster. And now it's like NASCAR. It's not the same. It used to be these veterans that were in the races. It's not. Now it's all these young guys that a lot of people had heard of. All these young quarterbacks that have just been in college, which it's kind of cool in a way, because now they've got this name recognition. But the Justin Fields, who made Chicago look like an unstoppable offense against the Patriots the other night. But you've got all these other guys, Mac Jones and
it was Zappy.
Yeah, Zappy hour came and went early for the Patriots, but still have all these young quarterbacks, and the Colts are they got guys like you and me, Bob.
Yes, and move just about as well.
Exactly.
So no, I mean, the reason why guys don't sit behind, maybe they'll do it for half a year or a year, but a lot of them are playing in pro style offenses in college, so they're a little more prepared. And plus, there's a financial element to this. Who wants to pay say a Matt Ryan another $18 million so he can tutor the next guy. I mean, it just doesn't make any financial sense. So, yeah, look, I was in the press box in Nashville, and I was going to write. I had written it already. They need to make the change now, and I backed off. I allowed myself to get talked out of it, and I said I said one more stinker and he's gone, one more and that's it. And yeah, they beat me to the punch.
One of the
I was surprised to see it though, but do you think it was more about performance, Dustin and Bob, or the media pressure of the lack of performance?
No, I don't think that had anything to do with the media pressure. If anything, the media was of a mind. I mean, I was as tough on him as anybody, and I was saying one more bad one, and he's out. Nobody was calling for his head right away. Look, I think it was two things happened at the same time. He got a grade 2 shoulder separation, which is going to knock him out of the lineup for a little while anyway. And they've been grooming Ellinger now for a couple of weeks. Moving him up on the list there to the backup spot over Foles, and now this is what they got. I mean, I'm going to ask Frank Reich today if there's any kind of similarity between what's going on now with this quarterback and what went on with Nick Foles when he had to take over before the playoff run for Philadelphia. Because you're getting a quarterback in midstream and trying to get him up to speed really fast. So I wonder if there's some commonality there.
We'll find out. Dustin, Indiana football, a bye this week. Probably, I don't know if it could come at a better time. I don't know if it really much matters right now, but it gives Indiana a chance to continue to make some changes with Rod Carey. I don't know that we've seen much difference, but it's not like that sounds unfair to even say. He's been in that position for 2 or 3 weeks. And the previous person was there for 2-3 years. So, but man, Indiana, Bob, the road they had opportunities. They should have beaten Nebraska, should have beaten Maryland, should have beaten Rutgers, and it would have been bowl eligible. And they could have lost to the rest of the teams like they probably will, although Purdue is an enigma. They're up and down.
Yeah,
but
really
but I don't think that anything Rick Moses is on with us later, and being that he's a lot closer to this situation, my question for him is going to be whose seat is warmer, Tom Allen's or Scott Satterfield's? Not that Tom Allen is going anywhere. I'm not suggesting that he goes anywhere, and he's not going anywhere this year, especially. But I don't know that what can Louisville do. They just spent $14 million prior to getting Satterfield because that's what they had to pay Bobby Petrino for him to leave.
Right. And look, Braum is still there. They want Braum. I think Braum
exactly, and that's the big question.
Yeah,
but Braum, can Braum leave Purdue because he's making what he's making, and with what we know the amount of cash that's about to be infused into the Big Ten?
I don't know. I'd have to talk to my buddies in West Lafayette. I don't know the finances surrounding a buyout for him, but I would think that with the money coming into the Big Ten, that they would be able to. They would take some of the sting out of it, I guess is what you'd say.
I
don't
think Mike Babinski would be outbid for Jeff Braum. I think that if Braum wanted to leave, it would be because of personal reasons more so than
right.
money, because I think Purdue's going to match it. Yeah,
it's family. It's hard to look at. You want him to stay at Purdue. He's done a nice job, but that's his alma mater, man. How can you blame him? I mean, he's the Brahms are the first football football family in Louisville. I mean, they have a name, they have a reputation. I wouldn't blame him at all.
But then you think about where's the ACC going in football? He's in one of what it
Right.
already is the true Premier Leagues and will continue to grow in stature. And like right now, he still has a shot at getting to the Big Ten championship game.
He does. He does. Even with the loss.
So I don't know. It's just he would be giving up a lot and taking, to me now. I wouldn't have said this, 5 years ago, but now this would be a down step to me, just because of where Louisville is, that's going on with the ACC conference and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. He's going to have to measure that, weigh that against family. That's and going home. And that's a hard thing to do.
Dustin, what do you think?
Well, I wanted to get Bob's thoughts on the Pacers. We're through the first 4 games, 1-3 start. The tank season is fully in
the tank is on,
but it's a fun. So far, it's been a fun tank.
It has been. They've been very, very enjoyable to watch. Very entertaining. They're especially when they go to small lineups, which they have to almost all the time. They're moving the ball. There's a lot of freedom on the offense. Now they don't have guys who can knock shots down and make plays in the open court, and that'll come over time. But I'll tell you what, if you aren't impressed by Ben Mathurin already, this guy, he's got Rookie of the Year. He's got that look. I mean, I know Banchero had a great opener. I haven't been following him game by game, but boy, Mathurin looks like the real deal. Certainly Halliburton. They have a backcourt that's going to be really interesting for years to come. And again, the guy that I like a lot, I've always liked, is Nembhard, Andrew Nembhard from Gonzaga. Big, tall point guard, a little bit like Halliburton. But I think once he grows into that backup spot, he's going to be dynamic. So they've got some good young players. I've been a little bit critical of Duarte.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about I'm looking at down at these are all rookie numbers. Mathurin right there at 22, just over 22 points a game. 3-pointers made three a game. So man, they're getting that's a good from a rookie, especially. And let's see, Keegan Murray. He's averaging more.
Well, he's been sick.
Banchero. He's averaging more than Banchero.
Yeah,
so,
and he's coming off the bench.
Actually, he's the highest averaging scoring rookie that's showing up here.
And he's coming off the bench.
Yeah,
and
there was a stat that he is only the second Pacer rookie in program history to come off the bench and score 20 points in back-to-back games, besides Reggie.
Yeah, I mean it just seems easy to him. Like scoring seems easy. It just kind of comes naturally in the flow of a game. He's incredibly efficient, and I don't want to I don't want to compare him to any players, but I will say that when I look at his game, I see a lot of Dwayne Wade. I see a lot of Dwayne Wade style basketball in the way Ben Mathurin plays the game. And when this kid develops an outside shot, holy smoke.
Yeah, Dustin, it's the guys that understand it's a process. Mm-hmm. It's not a sprint. They're going to come in and their job is to learn the NBA and to just learn all that they can, because it's going to be a tough year or two while they're building this around them. But by then, Bob, they're hopefully a semi-polished veteran. You're talking 3 years from now, even though I know 3 years does not make you a veteran, but 3 years in the league, yeah, you're entrenched.
Yeah, I mean, they got a lot. They got so many young guys. Mathurin, Nembhard, Isaiah Jackson is in his second year. Duarte in his second year. I mean, it's just such a new team. And I just think, I think Indiana is a smart basketball town, and or a smart basketball state. And they understand, I think, that the Pacers had to do this because they were on the wrong path. They were going nowhere with a team that wasn't particularly likable, and that was reflected in the fact that they were last in the league in attendance. I think attendance will pick up as people start to see that this is a team that's going to play hard and play freewheeling basketball. And look, they've been competitive every game. I mean, they've fallen behind. They came back against Washington. They came back. They beat Detroit. They played a very, very good game against Philadelphia and Joel Embiid, who always destroys them. So far, so good. And they're losing, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been fun to watch because there's been times where you watch them, they get down 20 points, and you think, oh boy, this is going to be a long night. And then they fight back. They found ways to get those first two games. They found ways to get back within a couple points and had chances to take it to overtime, potentially win the game.
Right.
And one thing I really liked what Ben Mathurin said, I don't remember if it was before or after the Detroit game, but basically saying I took notes of everybody who was drafted ahead of me, and I've got a point to prove. So not only is this kid uber talented, he plays with a little bit of an edge, and the fact that he's got kind of this system around him where they're going to play to his strengths. I was excited when they drafted him. Even now, I'm like, he might be. He could be an all-time great, at least in the organization.
In the organization, oh yeah. I mean, they're looking at Halliburton to be the face of the program or face of the of the franchise. But I think over time it's going to be Mathurin. I mean, I just think Mathurin, he doesn't have the chops for it just yet. He needs time to grow as a person and as a player. But I think talent-wise, this is the one kid who could be an all-star every year.
Yeah. I think that just real quick, I think that to me, I think Halliburton will be, I think Mathurin will be the star player, but I feel like almost Halliburton can be a Mark Jackson type. Like, I feel like you had to have a Mark Jackson to kind of rein Reggie in, rein some of those guys in a little bit. I think that's more Halliburton's role. Still obviously incredibly good, but if they can keep this backcourt together, it's
going to be good. And Nembhard coming off the bench. And don't discount, I know he's 100 years old, but TJ McConnell is really good for this team. I realize he's not part of the future, but he brings something really important to this team. And, whether he gets a lot of minutes or very few, I still think he'll have an impact.
Bob, all the talk about Indiana basketball, the rubber hits the road kind of on Saturday at 3:00 with an exhibition. So the people will at least see the players. They will see the guys on the floor. They will actually see them play in an uncontrolled type scrimmage. So I don't expect you to be there on a beautiful Saturday in the middle of the day when it's a bye week for the football team and there's nothing else that you had to be there for. Hint, hint. Boy, I sure wish that we didn't have to be.
Yeah.
Well, that'll sure ruin a weekend, huh? But it's kind of slowly, sneakily, just kind of kicking off this Saturday afternoon.
I see where they were ranked 13th in the league, or not in the league, in the nation.
In the AP poll.
Now, I will be the first to admit I have never seen Hood Schifino play except a couple of highlights. I haven't seen the freshman play. But
he's the deal.
I'm sure he's the deal. So is the movement. But there's well,
the movement didn't come from Montverde with back to, no, he's legit. I mean, those guys that come from Montverde, they're like JUCO players coming in.
Okay. Well, I mean, look, they're going to need a lot of help from some of these freshmen and some of these young guys like Galloway and Tamar Bates and others to raise the level of their games. And I think that they will, because you look at this team, they have never finished higher than 9th in the Big Ten in the last 6 years. And that includes all the years that this core group has been there. And, that's a big jump from 9th place in the Big Ten to 13th with basically the same team. Now I realize you got a bunch of freshmen and you got some young guys who you hope are going to develop, but your key guys, Race and Trace and Xavier and people like that, that's the same group from last year that just barely got into the NCAA, tournament and then got wiped out in the second game. So I'm like, hold your horses. I don't want to diminish expectations, but yeah, I want to diminish expectations. I think they're going to be good, but I don't think, 13th in the country. I realize the Big Ten has lost a lot of players. I understand that, but gosh, that seems awfully lofty to me.
See, and this is a great discussion because Zach Osterman had a tweet this morning that I wish I had it pulled up, but basically, and this has been the case since Indiana has not been in Indiana, but that there seems to be a perception nationally that the inside hype train on Indiana is much higher than it should be.
Yeah.
But the only thing I have to say to that is those national guys who are they listening to? Are they listening to the fans? Or are they listening to the people that cover the team? Because if they listen to the people that cover the team and that's the sense that they're getting, then that's okay. I understand. But if you're listening to the fans, that's different. And why would you do that? But yeah. I don't know anyone that's saying anything that anybody else isn't saying. Everyone is putting Indiana at the top, not alone. The Big Ten this year. Why shouldn't they? They've got the All-American returning. They've got all the pieces returning and added.
Yeah, those pieces got you into 9th place last year.
But they returning with pieces that I think are much, much more cohesive with what they have right now and are going to be a much more facilitating team than they've ever been. And they are deeper. People thought that they were deep last year. They really weren't. They had talent deep, but they did not have a mixture deep. And I think there were some substitution issues with that, and that's on Woody.
Well, we'll see. But I saw 13th, ranked 13th in the country. I'm like, shit, man, just get in the top 4 in the Big Ten. Then we'll start talking.
Right. But do you think that that's more because you don't cover them actively? Like you said, you haven't seen Jalen Hood-Schifino play. And I'm not saying this is a downward, but I think that there's a lot of people that nationally, they don't cover. If they're not covering, if I'm not covering, I say it all the time, well, I don't cover that team, so I'm not up to speed on them. And I think that gets to be the case. And yeah, IU fans are clamoring and they talk and jaw because they want IU to be good. Right. But if it's coming from the real IU media, then I think that the national media should listen.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like a mighty big leap to me to go from not being top 9 in your conference to being 13th in the country. I mean, Hood, Schifino, and these guys may be studs. I have no idea, but they didn't do much last year. I mean, they were falling off the map when they had that incredible second half comeback against, I believe it was Michigan, and then they had a nice little run, and they snuck in and won the first 4, and then got beat by St. Mary's.
They got drilled.
St. Mary's of the Woods, whatever it was. And they got drilled. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't mean to be Debbie Downer. I mean, maybe that's just how I roll, but I'm just trying to be realistic.
And
I agree.
That point, the 13th ranking to me, I saw this when I covered college football a lot. If you are a premier program or a team that's in the top, you tend to get that sort of treatment. There's almost a desperation for that. You see it with Notre Dame quite a bit. You see it with other teams. If there's a semblance that you could be good, you're usually probably going to get a nod. I was surprised to see 13th as well. I thought maybe around 20.
Yeah.
Don't know if that makes a big difference or not, but there's an element of me that tells me they're going to be good, but there's also that I'll believe it when I see it, because every year they've come back with basically the same team and they haven't been able to do much.
So. And I realize the Big Ten has lost a lot of players. Right. The Big Ten, I mean, you look at the Big Ten, who do you think is going to win the division? I mean, the conference, It could be IU. It could be
Right.
because Purdue
But it could
always
also be Wisconsin, who last year was picked
right.
seventh,
Yeah.
ninth, maybe.
You know,
I don't remember.
you know, Izzo's always going to have a team. I mean, Illinois. Yeah, I mean, I know they lost a lot of talent, but I don't know what Underwood has coming in. So we'll see. I got to do. I have a lot of reading to do this afternoon. Get up to speed on my Big Ten basketball.
Just go to thehoosier.com. You can get that taken care of, my
I'll
friend.
do that, buddy.
But for everybody else, make sure you go to Bob Kravitz at The Athletic. Give him a follow and have a subscription. I do. It's great content. Keep you up to date on Colts, Pacers, and IU. All things that you need. Bob, what are you working on next? By the way,
well, I'm going to the Colts
on exactly who the Colts should draft. You had the quarterback picked out.
No, I have a list of about 5 guys who I think have a chance to go in the first round. So, I mean, Stroud, the usual suspects: Stroud, Young, Hooker, Levis. I'm sure I'm missing some names, but you know, they have no choice. They've got to go unless Sam Ehlinger goes Tom Brady and comes on and leads them to the Super Bowl. They've got to go out and get their successor in the draft next year. And I think this is an acknowledgement that they're not going to go anywhere with the corpse that is Matt Ryan, and that they need, you know, what do you got to lose? You know, if you lose a lot of games, it means you get a better draft pick, means you get a better chance to get a quarterback. So, right. and if you play well, and if Ehlinger plays well, then you've got somebody you can maybe not build around, but somebody who's going to be a piece to your team, maybe as a backup. I mean, unlikely he's going to be your starter long term, but you know, sports is filled with miracles, and maybe this is one of them.
Maybe. Bob Kravitz, can't thank you enough, my friend.
My pleasure, guys. Take care.
Enjoy your golf game. Well,
83 yesterday.
Oh man,
nice.
You're shooting your age now, brother. You're killing it.
I've been in the 80s for a month. It's been crazy.
I know. You're. I need that pencil you got.
No, ain't no pencil.
I'm kidding. He's killing it. Can't wait to see you, brother. Have a good one. Bob Kravitz from The Athletic joining us here.